Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Glendale's Arts and Culture Commission meeting for April 18, 2019. May I have roll call, please?
Commissioners Oshigan?
Yes.
Tufenkian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Zadorian?
Here.
Chairperson Vidor.
Here.
For the agenda for the April 18th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on April 15th, 2019. Item 2, consent items at 2A, approval of regular meeting minutes from March 21st, 2019.
Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the March minutes? Give you a minute. Shake your head yes or no. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
I second.
Commissioners Oshigan?
Yes.
Tufenkian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Zadorian?
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes.
Item 3, introductions and presentations at 3A, Library Arts and Culture events presented by Chuck Wyke, Community Relations Manager.
Good afternoon, Chair Vidor, Commissioners, City staff, and guests. I'm going to give you a brief overview of a number of events at the Library Arts and Culture Department. I'm going to start off with a call for artists for the Brand 47 Works on Paper. This is the 47th annual National Juried Exhibition sponsored by the Brand Associates. I should also note that this is the 50th year of the Brand Associates, so we're really proud to have them around for 50 years. This particular exhibition, Works on Paper, will be, let me see, all the artwork will be in the printed catalog. There's cash awards of over $4,000. Interestingly, independent curator Alma Ruiz will be the juror. She's a senior fellow at Sotheby's Institute of Art, Claremont Graduate University, and a member of the advisory committee for the Cisneros Fontanals Art Foundation in Miami. She brings a wealth of experience to Brand 47 as a former senior curator at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. And she's also curated internationally in Mexico, Argentina, Israel, and Guatemala. She's acted as a juror for numerous exhibitions and biennials in the United States and Latin America, and is the author of numerous essays and articles. The entry deadline is May 20, 2019. And if you go, any artists out there, look at brandlibrary.org, they'll see a notice for the call for artists for Brand 47. Continuing, there was a great program, first of its kind here we've done. It's called This Is Our Time. And last week, the Brand Gallery was visited by over 50 students from Glendale Unified School District high schools. They spent the day with the Brand Gallery curators, the Walt Disney Animation Collections manager, and the chief preparator at the Huntington Art Collections for a unique hands-on interactive learning experience. The students received instructions on proper handling and installation of artwork, curation and presentation, as well as guidance in preparing their portfolios and pricing their artwork. They were given an opportunity to learn more about various fields of employment in the arts and a chance to curate a professional gallery and institution. So we have a number of photos from that event. If I may go back, very distinctive artwork on the postcard. The artist is a student named Audrey Perensky. She's a Crescenta Valley High School student. Remember that name. I'll bring her up later in today's meeting. But again, a number of pictures of the students viewing art, hanging out. It's really a splendid week-long event.
Well, yeah, I just would like to say, having been at the event, I don't know if any of the other commissioners made it on opening night or got to see it, but it exceeded everybody's expectations. And you know, the teachers from GUSD and Shannon Curry Holmes and Aaron Stone just worked so hard together to make this happen and make it into something really special, really different, not just an exhibition, but a learning opportunity for artists, high school age artists who are planning to go to art school and pursue art as a career. So it was really wonderful, and I'd like to just extend my thanks to all of them. And believe it or not, the gem of this idea got started on Co-Urbanize, which was the website that we had up for people to give input into the urban art program plan. So that was obviously great, and I know everybody wants to do it again next year, and hopefully it'll grow into something bigger.
Threshold, Armenian Passages. This is our upcoming exhibition at Reflect Space Gallery at the Central Library. Threshold explores the idea of a threshold as a physical, emotional, and historical passage, and is a reflection on the migratory restlessness of the Armenian diaspora. And the artists featured in this exhibition are Sofia Gasparian, Kahust Guaidel, and Gegam Kacharian. The opening reception is tomorrow night, Friday, April 19th at the Central Library, 7 p.m. I should also mention there are a couple of events associated with it. There's a curatorial talk and a tour and discussion on April 25, and that's when artists and scholars drawn from 2 years of Reflect Space exhibitions consider their interconnected histories of injustice. That'll be a good program. Then another program with the 3 artists on May 23rd, 7 p.m. Brand Library. We go back to Brand with their new exhibition. It's called Sway. It features Debbie Carlson, Chen Hong Chen, Gina Herrera, Echo Liu, Susanna Saraswati Petrovic, Linda Suprice, and A.M. Rousseau. This is an expressive group exhibition curated by Chen Hong Chen, featuring those artists. And each artist, through their particular medium, interprets the fundamental element of line to indicate movement. So that, again, the opening reception is at 6 o'clock this Saturday, April 20, and that exhibition runs through June 14th. Also at Brand Library, they have something called their Book to Art Club. They started this when they reopened in 2014. It's a book group, but they include an art component for the participants. So you read the book, you come in, you discuss it, do some art, and everybody has a good time. The #1 ladies detective agency is the book coming up on April 27th for discussion.
And Gary Schaefer, Director, Library Arts and Culture. I might add, if you have not read this book, you definitely should. It is one of the side-splitting, funniest books I've ever read. So, if nothing else, and then there's art.
Fuse Dance Company, that's a group coming for the Brand Associates Dance Series. They will be there on April 27th at 6 p.m. at the Brand Library. We have an author talk. This gentleman is a performer. He is Richard Pryor Jr., the son of the comedian Richard Pryor. So he's coming to the Central Library on April 29th to talk about his life and what it's like being a performer kind of in the shadow of Richard Pryor. There's a film screening, Robbery of the Heart, coming on May 1st. That has to do with the Holocaust. On Saturday, May 4th, the Brand Music Series, another program sponsored by our Brand Associates, continues. This performer is Vicki Ray. She's been described as phenomenal and fearless. She's a Grammy-nominated pianist and is a leading interpreter of contemporary piano music. So Vicki Ray will be there on May 4th at the Brand Library. Just to call your attention, we've had a busy couple of weeks in April. We We kind of reopened a reimagined Grandview Library with a STEAM focus. And we also had, the second week in April, we celebrated National Library Week. This photo was taken here in council chambers. You know many of the faces up there, but there's the woman next to Councilwoman Paula Devine is a 40-year employee, Thea Van Houten. We were very, very happy to kind of honor her as a longtime member of the library staff. May 4th, we have a Healthy Minds Fair. Great for artists, great for non-artists, great for scientists. It's really how to take care of yourself and your mental health. And there's actually a terrarium building activity. We have over 16 local mental health organizations there to talk to adults, kids. There's seminars and panels and so forth. That's Saturday, May 4th. And just in closing, also remind you to visit the ArtSoc Paseo. There's the closed street. So from the library all the way up to Wilson on ArtSoc on April 27th, the city is going to have an outdoor community workshop, and the entire city of Glendale is invited. There'll be a beer garden. There'll be food stalls, games, adult sketching, live music, entertainment, just a number of things. So I hope you can all make it.
Okay, let's go on.
Item 4, oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not on this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. The commission may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The commission may refer the matter to city staff for investigation and report.
Okay, I have 3 cards. First, I have Kathy Renda.
Everybody. I'm here from the Adamsdale neighborhood, and I wanted to thank you for the new round of art that we're going to have in the mini park and the stipend that's being offered. And then I wanted to talk to you about being an artist and looking at artist calls, because I think what we want is people to respond to the call, and I think the way it's set up right now, there's going to be some difficulties that I'd like to talk about. So on the mobile site, when you look on your phone, you click on Arts and Culture, it says there's a place that when you scroll down for applications and submissions or artist calls or something, the only thing showing up right now is the performers at East 322 or something, and 2 bookmark contests. So there's nothing about Adams Square Mini Park, and I don't know if the brand paperwork is supposed to be on there too. It would be a good place to put it, but so it's not there. And since it's not there, the only way I was able to get to it was to actually search on Adams Square Mini Park. I don't know how many artists are going to do that. I mean, how many artists maybe don't even know the name of the park, don't even know that there's an application out there on that park. So I would really urge you to get that into the opportunities button. If it's not there, it's impossible to find. If I go on the city website on my laptop, then there's a bunch of things that are listed under Library Arts and Culture. Under the commission, it's a kind of a mishmash of past, present, and future opportunities and things that did exist but don't exist. And there, if you click on Adams Square Mini Park, it doesn't say application, but it actually takes you to the application, which is a good thing. So that's where you can find it, and that's the place that it takes you if you search on it on your phone, that you get that application too. So those are the 2 places, the 2 ways I was able to access that application, which is just not very intuitive. And when you look on the website, not the mobile website, but the regular website, there's also 2 links that are provided. And one is for past installations, and the other one is photos of the park. And the one that's for past installations is a link within the application. So if you're on your phone and you get the application, you can click on that and it'll show you the past. But there's no link in the application for the photos of the website of the gas station, which I think is really important because it's a very unique venue. If people are unfamiliar with it, they won't even have a clue what they could do with it unless they see the photos. So I would definitely put that link in the application. And the other thing is that in the history, it shows what people wrote for when they wanted, they applied to put their installation in. And that's great, but, visual artists are visual. Photos would be good. They have photos that I think are photos that came with the application, but don't show the actual installation. And I can offer you 4 photos I have that you could put in there that I think might help for artists who look at that and say, oh, somebody actually installed that and that's what it looked like, instead of just this was my idea. So, and the other thing was that I believe I'm on all the lists to get any artist call from the city, and I have never received a call about this. So I'm not sure if those lists aren't working. I did on the mobile phone, there's a place where you can apply, you can add yourself to the list. I did, I still didn't get it. And the other thing is that there are places where you can go on the internet that are consolidations of lots of artist calls. One's called Cafe. Another one is the California Arts Council. They also have a site where you can, and I know Cafe has the brand Associates Paperworks, that's on Cafe now. And if you could get them on there, I think you would reach a lot more artists, because that's what everybody wants, right? We all want to get a lot of people in here, interested in showing. So the more people you can reach, the better. So that's just been my experience, my anecdotal experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we allowed to make comments or proceed? Okay. Next card is, oops, I want to take them in order as I got them. Carl Wiest.
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Wiest. I'm the owner of Swain's HQ Art Supply. We recently relocated, maybe as some of you may know, in September down on Colorado. We're now just outside the Arts District. And it's proven beneficial to lots of people who come down, they shop, and now they'll walk over to the Americana, have lunch. So it's good. We're doing a lot of new things at Swain's. We have a gallery that I finished building a couple months ago in the front of the store. This is envisioned not as a for-profit gallery. It's envisioned as our way to try and give something back to the community. Right now we have a show by the Society of Illustrators of Los Angeles that's going on through the end of this month. In May, we're rushing to try and put together a show with Glendale High School Reflections Award contest winners. We're trying to pull that off. And in June, we have a show coming up with the Glendale Art Association is having a summer show in our place. So those are just some of the new things. The Society of Illustrators also has located their anywhere from 2 to 4 nights a week classes in our new space. So it's more than the store that it used to be, unless you're looking for greeting cards and toys. We are dedicated now to art supplies, and so I'm hoping to be more involved in the community now that I don't have to be sitting in my office figuring out how much money I have to buy for teddy bears and stuff. So I can get out and come to meetings. So anyways, I can talk more about Swain's. I can talk for days about it and what we want to do, but my point today is I came last month and listened to the talk about the new Arts District, and I'm very enthusiastic about that. But I have kind of my own set of comments that kind of might represent a younger generation of artists, depending on who you're trying to reach with the Arts District. My opinion in locating and finding a new location for my own store was that I was tired of the stuffy Nordstrom feeling kind of place. I felt that artists wanted a loft, a warehouse, repurposed kind of of a building. And true to my thoughts, that's what they wanted. So in my opinion, if you want a real true arts district downtown that appeals not just to the general public but to artists, I think that you need to look at it more than just a manufactured arts version of the Americana. I think you need to look at it as a reused, repurposed kind of raw space, not a manufactured environment. Artists, they see through manufactured environments. They're visual, sensory people. They don't they don't get drawn into that. They laugh at it. So, anyways, if you're trying to be a Disneyland for artists, no. Disneyland for artists is downtown LA these days. If you've been to the Arts District down there, that's a burgeoning district. Anyways, moving on. If you want to really be an art city and not just a district in some, a small district with some cool utility boxes, which I like, then the city should reconsider how they have traditionally viewed large-scale public art. Traditionally, they looked at it as blight instead of art that improves people's lives and their surroundings. I drive by what I consider to be the boring, bland, mausoleum-like brick walls of the gallery, and I just see these gigantic 30-foot wall canvases that are ready to have some paint put on them by artists. I think it was Ms. Vidor who said last meeting that we're the beige city or something, and maybe it wasn't in just reference to we're a beige city. If you want to be a city recognized on a world-class level, such as Vienna, Tokyo, Barcelona, even Long Beach these days, I think you need to start to embrace what is known as graffiti art to cover some of these barren walls that led one commissioner, yeah, I said that already, about the beige city. Anyways, to lay any fears, graffiti art is not tagging, which is indeed blight. I will be the first to agree with that. Although in the street world it is an important part of the culture. Graffiti art that has been made popular in globally recognized cities, like I just mentioned, is basically public mural art created by artists primarily through the use of aerosol paint and markers. Governments and the media have popularized the terms street art and urban art to widen the appeal to the masses, but within the graph community it's still referred to as graffiti art. So I tend to use the terms. I myself tried to use the street art terms and I would get looked at by these people like, no, you're not legit, guy. So anyways, I had some more to say, but I think you get the idea. I have 4 artists I was going to tell you about that are world-recognized local LA-based artists. They have over 850,000 Instagram followers. These people are followed worldwide. And if you want some instant recognition for the city, you commission these people and you will get a world-class arts district in no time. So that about sums it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Please stick around and come back and visit us.
Can we ask you to email the names of those artists to our staff, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I will get contact the email, certainly.
Thank you. Terrific. Okay, now we have Taryn Newton-Gill.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I am here to talk about, actually, all this discussion over artists, about how the creative art agency Found can help with Glendale's 2019 arts initiatives looking for artists. First, I'd like to say on a personal note that I worked in the city of Glendale for many years as a makeup artist at MAC Cosmetics in the Glendale Galleria. So Glendale's a city I know and love, and it seemed like a natural fit for me when I heard about the arts initiatives. And so I'm here today representing Found, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about who Found is. Found is the creative agency arm of the international arts organization Raw Artists, which has showcased over 200,000 emerging artists all over the globe for the past 10 years. We have showcases in all major U.S. cities, Australia, Mexico, all over Canada, and in the UK as well, in England. And our most local showcases are located in downtown LA, Hollywood, Orange County, and San Diego. So Found's creatives come from nearly every artistic background, including visual art such as painters, photographers, and graphic designers, fashion, hair and makeup, body painters, and performance art such as music, dance, aerialists, fire throwing, and more. Our main focus is murals, but we do have artists in all of those different categories. Found's mission is to connect these independent creatives with businesses, entrepreneurs, and cities in need of artwork and talent. Once we have helped locate the best talent for a given project, we manage the production of the project from start to finish, negotiating rates for artists, securing materials, setting the timeline, and serving as the point of contact between the artist and the client or the city. And because our talent is emerging, we're able to keep our prices for things like murals that tend to get very pricey more competitive. So specifically with regards to Glendale's 2019 arts initiatives, Found would like to offer our services to connect the city of Glendale for highly visible art in public locations, specifically Glendale's landmark art project, the public utility mural box program, or box mural program, the temporary neighborhood arts program, as well as performance-based artists for events at Brand Plaza, Library and Art Center, and the Downtown Central Library. So we are thrilled to support Glendale in its goals towards more arts and culture, and so if there's any way we can provide artists or help with these initiatives, we would love to. So I have business cards and some information. I don't know if there's somewhere I should leave that with you. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have one more card. Armina, would you please tell us your name? Because I can't quite make it out.
Yes, it's Armina Lamana.
Oh, Armina, yes. We did meet before, yes.
Hello, my name is Armina Lamana. I am a Glendale resident, adjunct faculty at GCC, and I'm also here as artistic director of Imagine Project. We are LA's new and only equity theater company dedicated entirely to young audiences. We are the second such theater in the entire state of California and third in the entire Western region. So we are, I came to you 2 years ago to tell you when we just sort of announced the company, and now November 7th, we will hold our inaugural season at the Colony Theater in Burbank. And we looked for a space here. Unfortunately, there was no mid-sized venue in Glendale that could house what we needed, our production. So we went to the Colony Theater. I am here to just say hello to you. I hope that you will actually get in touch with me. I would love to have you on our board. We also have an advisory board if the board is too much for you guys, if you have too much on your plate. One of the most important things is that in a couple of years, we will be looking for a flagship space. A place where children can grow up with in the entire county. As a resident of Glendale, I would love that place to be in Glendale, of course. So I did get in touch with your econ development department, and I did speak to them and started a conversation just this week, so this is very, very new. So, but that is our long-term plan, to have an actual flagship space that will be visited by the entire county. So our productions are in the evenings for the general public and the weekends, and also during school hours for schools. It's very important to have the school hour sessions because not all parents have access to transportation, finances, or even knowledge of these events to take their children. But this way, we kind of leveled the playing field just a little bit. I am thrilled to say that Glendale Unified will be bringing their kids to our inaugural production, The Tale of Turandot. All our productions spotlight female heroes. This is part of our mission and vision, to inspire girls to aspire and to teach boys to value gender parity in society and to know how they win when that happens. This is very important for us. And of course, what every study has proven, that professional theater teaches empathy. It ignites compassion. They do better in school. When they see professional live theater, all these things matter. They matter very much. And we are committed to building a society where children grow up with this sort of sense of cultural relativity, understanding each other just a little better so that we kind of break up the cliques, that are happening, especially, I graduated from Hoover in the 90s. And there were divisions then when I was a student, and there are divisions there still. So we would love to change that through art. Art does that. Art is what's left, when dynasties come and go. Humanity is known by its art. So I wanted to quickly tell you also a small part of our company's mission is to teach children about civic engagement. I was asked a few months ago what the world would look like if Imagine Project succeeds, and I told them, well, everybody would vote with an understanding that their vote doesn't just affect them, but also somebody far away in their country, other people. And so we engaged in a social media campaign asking people to take their children to vote with them, to build this tradition. I've always done it. Since the day the twins were born, I've taken them in strollers, which, accessibility was an issue. I won't lie with a double stroller, but I still did, and I still take them to vote. And, I want them to think it's the coolest thing they're going to do when they turn 18. I want them to think, when I turn 18, I'm voting. So I'm raising nerds, but it's all good. It's all good. So I would love it if you guys, I will pass over some information that I have here, which is one-page breakdown of who we are, what we are, our mission, and my card in the back. Please check out our website. We would love to talk to you, to tell you more about what we're doing, and to welcome you to our opening at the Colony Theater on November 7th. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I wanted to say we do not have children on stage. So sorry, I forgot to say this. Because everybody asks me, but we are a union house, so all of our actors are paid, and they are members of the stage unions, and we perform for children, but with adult actors. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for contributing today. Next item.
Item 5, business agenda. At 5AA, motion allocating $3,100 from the Arts and Culture Commission 2019-2020 work plan to enable artist Scott Froschauer to redeploy or fabricate and install up to 5 signs from his Art Happens Anywhere Word on the Street program, and recommending that the director of the library, Arts and Culture, enter into an art display agreement in an amount not to exceed $3,100 in total with Scott Froschauer to redeploy or fabricate and install the signs in locations subject to city department's approval for a fixed period of time that the commission determines.
Hi.
Hello, Scott. Welcome back.
Good to be here. So I think you've got the proposal in front of you. I think this is, a result of some of the conversations we've had previously, trying to figure out how to best proceed.
Should there not be a report first, and then we'll have the public hearing? Is there a summary?
There is a summary.
Okay.
I can give you that. Hang on, Scott. We'll get you
Hang
back
on.
up.
Sorry, Chuck.
Stay where you are.
No problem. Chair Vidor, Commissioners, city staff, and many guests. From November 2017 through November 2018, the city of Glendale hosted 20 signs in parks and at libraries from multimedia artist Scott Froschauer's The Word on the Street project. Word on the Street was funded through the Arts and Culture Commission's AHA, stands for Art Happens Anywhere initiative. By utilizing the materials and visual language of street signs, but replacing the traditional negative language such as stop and do not enter with positive affirmations, the Word on the Street sought to provide something that is missing from our daily visual diet. By the very nature of the materials, it was also perfectly suited to long-term outdoor installations. I should add that the Word on the Street has been installed since then in public, private, municipal spaces throughout the United States. It has been seen on display at various galleries and museums, including the Renwick Gallery of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. We were the first. We were Scott's test case, and I think he's been pretty happy with it. At its discretion, the commission may decide that up to 5 existing signs should be relocated, or some or all of them should be reproduced if they are no longer available, or completely new signs in the same vein of the existing program should be created. The exact locations of the new signs will be determined by staff with input from Mr. Froschauer and in consultation with city departments, including traffic engineering and the legal department, for safety and liability concerns. The last page of your attachment, your exhibit, does include the budget, calls it out for repositioning 2 new signs, fabricating 3 new signs, and utilizing 3 existing locations and installing 2 new posts. With that, I give you artist Scott Froschauer.
Hi again. Thank you, Chuck. So I hope this appears to be a culmination of kind of our previous conversations and an attempt to figure out how to best move forward.
It's an action item.
It's an action item.
Yeah.
Yes. So I provided some alternatives within the document to give you some ideas of pieces that we might choose that would be possibly new fabrications. If you looked at the budget, it states that we could use that we could reuse some of the existing pieces, but then I also wanted to include the opportunity to put some new work into the project.
The one at the upper, the first, you don't have, do we have images that we can project to the public of these? Okay, so there's one that's a very clever three-pronged sign. That's new, correct?
That's one of the newer pieces.
That's one of the new ones.
Yep.
So if you
That
could,
one's called planning.
okay. Yeah, that is,
This one at the top left?
yeah, I'm looking at, I wish the public could
Right.
see this. It's 3 signs in sequence, and they relate to one another.
Does that count as one sign or two?
Well,
That's
so what I
one.
would do is I would
That's
put
one.
those on a single post as a single installation. I've done them
Okay,
in several
so-
different ways as a.
Okay. Like
used to
you
be in
did the piece one.
Yeah,
that
the
has
piece,
6
it's similar to the piece one.
components.
There used to be a Burma Shave was the name of the company. They would do these signs on the side of roads where they would kind of make statements in progression. So as you'd see a sign, they would rhyme. And so that was kind of a way, but that installation shows, them in sequence. But I kind of prefer that one, like the peace signs, as a single installation.
So do we want to now convene? You've pretty much said what you want to say, and we can now ask you some questions or
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
move toward coming to a decision.
Yeah.
So this has been a very popular project, installation with not only with us, but with the public specifically. And so I'm wondering why we're only doing 5 more. We have the posts, 20 posts are still there. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah, I think at this point there are 18. 2 of them were damaged, but yeah.
Were removed, the 2 of them?
One of them was completely removed, and then one was ground down. But more or less, we have 18 that are in pristine condition.
18. So I'm wondering why we're not doing all 18, considering budgetarily it's not that big of an impact, and from the public
we
it's a
don't
huge
know.
impact.
We don't know what the price is for that. We have.
I mean, you can
proposal for
extrapolate
this.
out from that.
Extrapolate, it's
that's-
500 apiece.
Yeah,
So-
I kind of, it was kind of, in the budget, I kind of explained kind of what the price points are, that, new fabrication versus putting in new posts. Utilizing the existing posts is obviously something that's a benefit, but if we were to fabricate new pieces and put them on all 18, then exactly 500 a piece, that would be, 9,000.
sorry, I thought we were rotating some of these out, correct?
Right, so that's in the language where it says repositioning existing pieces, then that would be, it was 2 of them were going to be rotated to move, only 2, because currently there are only 5 still existing. At the end of the previous project, they were taken down due to just communication about how the project would operate. Those were taken down and they were auctioned off for an art education nonprofit. So I retained 5 of the pieces still in place. So those pieces still exist. So we could rotate through those. The other ones would be fabricated.
Okay.
Madam Chair, it's at the committee's discretion, the commission's discretion as far as, whether you want to do 3, 5, 18.
Well, we have a number of choices in front of us. How many total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I think,
If I knew we were going to do 18, I could give you more.
We have 14 in front of us, and the proposal in the report talks about 5, and we did talk about a reduced number before. So I think we can change course. If we wanted to consider changing course and expanding this, would we have to bring this back, or can we do this now? You can do it now? Okay. So let's talk about that then.
one clarification.
Go ahead.
So there are 5 signs that are available, but you're only repositioning 2 of the 5? Is that, I understand? And
Yeah,
just your decision.
Just to
personal
go through
decision.
the narrative.
Uh-huh.
The narrative was my understanding was let's try and put this through for 5. Let's try and do a low threshold just to get some of the work back out there. With the notion of just installing 5 pieces, my perspective on it was let's reuse 2 of the existing ones and let's put 3 fresh ones out there. If we're saying we're going to do the full 18, there's no reason not to utilize the 5 existing ones and produce 13 new ones. That, obviously makes a great deal of sense. I was just trying to get some new work in with it and not just reposition the 5 existing ones.
So it'll be 5 times 300.
Okay. So an 18-piece replay of this would be 10,000.
Well, it would be, as he's doing the math right now, it would be 13 pieces at 500 apiece, which would be 6,500, and it would be
Plus
5 pieces. that would-
8,000.
Yeah.
Plus 1,500 would be 8,000. Right. So it'll be 8,000 to have 5 repositioned ones and 13 new ones on the 18 posts that are available right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we don't have all 18. If we went for the full gamut of
Yeah.
18, we don't have them all to look at right now.
No, that might be something that I would have to come back to you with to show, I could give you a proposal of what I would like to do and then give you alternates, and then we should be able to hammer that out in one session pretty quickly. But,
Okay.
I'm open to moving forward on that.
Okay. Well, does anybody else want to say anything before we go back to discussing this, questions or anything?
Now, these ones are all new, right? The ones you
Those
have.
are not all new. For instance, you'll see the one in front of the brick wall that says, breathe, all we have is now, relax, you're okay. That was actually in front of the newly remodeled Grandview Library. That brick wall is Grandview Library in the background. Start is currently at in Brand, at the base of the hiking trail in Brand Library. So some of those are.
I think this one I've seen too.
That one is that one's in front of Central Library, and then there's another one matching that in Casa El Adobe.
Okay.
Casa El Adobe.
Any comments? Those are great. Okay, so we're now on a five now as stated or expand. And we have to make a decision. We don't have to make a decision, but it would sure be nice if we could get this thing done, since you're practically coming to every single meeting.
No, but this is great. Don't hold
back.
I love it. I love
Okay.
it. Like, I came into this thinking that we were going to do 5. If we
Right.
come out of this saying that we're going to do all 18, I'm smiling when I leave here. That's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Okay.
I actually still have.
Can I? Go
ahead.
Please. I've been talking.
My question is, I'm looking at the map of the locations.
Yes.
And of course, I see Montrose is kind of left off. Is there?
Montrose?
Yes, like I don't see that many.
Sorry, Montrose Park is one of the existing ones. Is an
It
existing
is.
post. I'm
Okay,
sorry
maybe I
if
can't
it's
see
not
very
clear,
well in this.
But Montrose Park, Duke Magian would be the
Magian.
furthest
Duke Magian's
north
furthest. Okay.
piece. The second most northern piece is actually Montrose Park.
Okay.
What's the most southern piece?
You'd have to look at the map. I don't remember off the top of my head because
It's
it all
like
gets
right
kind of
before
clumped up.
Atwater.
Yeah, it's kind of, oh, well, there's the one, the Riverwalk, but I don't know if that's
Right at
the
the edge of-
furthest south. There's several of them that all, because the library's kind of south.
I think it looks like close to Glendale Adventist.
Okay.
Memorial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, there's the one over by the 5, Griffith Manor
But
Park.
nothing down Atwater Way or on the border of Eagle Rock or?
No, I think, well, the closest one to Eagle Rock is the Lower Shoal Canyon is pretty close, but Lower Shoal Canyon's one of the ones that was actually removed by somebody. I don't know if it was the parks, it just was gone. So that would be one of the ones that I wouldn't be replacing because it's actually, the foundation was removed
Oh, my.
somehow. I don't know what happened with that one.
Well.
That's the only one that had this alien abduction sort of thing happen to it.
Right.
The whole foundation?
It's just gone. I want to put in a camera if I ever.
I guess,
No.
So
could I
on-
take kind of oh, go ahead.
Sorry. On the map, it looks like there's 16 marked, so there might be 2 more that
So
are.
the this central library is not marked because that's only parks. So central library is not marked, and then there are 2 in Pelanconi Park. So Pelanconi has a double up, which one of the ones that I'm kind of leaning towards, if we wanted to do all 18 of them, on the second page of images, you'll see at the very bottom it says Wonder and Wander. I think those are really fun together.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to have both of those in Pelanconi Park as an example.
That's new, right?
Those would be new fabrications.
Okay.
Those aren't anywhere. Those don't exist yet. Nobody's got those yet.
Okay. Any more questions before we?
Yes, I have a
Yeah,
question,
go ahead.
Scott. So this is a very interesting place in a project. You know, you kind of did a lot of it. Now you're kind of resetting,
Yeah.
hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit what you learned from the first try and what you would do the same or what would you do different?
So my favorite location for the entire project was at the top of Brand Park, at the top of Seven Plateaus Trail. I think it's because that one was the most challenging for people to get to. And so when they would get to the top of that hike, there was kind of, I think there's an endorphin rush just from arriving at that spot and kind of, you're breathing hard and you're excited to be there. And then there's this piece of artwork there that kind of addresses that you've done this, you've accomplished this thing. And so that one got a lot of social media.
That's attention, take note, what
Attention,
it
take
feels
note.
like to
Yeah.
be alive now.
And that one, so that one could either be replaced as it was, that could be replicated and put up there. That might also be a good opportunity to put a piece like Breathe. Just, you know, that's one that I think I would like up there. So, but that's something that then that lesson moved forward into other applications to other cities. As I would be scouting other municipalities, I would specifically start looking for these achievements and tying the work to these achieved spots. So that was one that that I particularly really liked. The one at Casa El Adobe had a great response from the woman who oversees that facility. She's very attached to that piece.
Peace sign?
Yeah, the peace sign's there. That one, if we were to move that, that might be a great place to replace it with the planning piece. She's very connected to it, and I think that's a great way to move the work forward and still kind of keep the same sort of tenor. The other one was the Riverwalk. I put Meander there. I specifically came up with that one for the Riverwalk because I wanted, Meander, river, haha, I'm pretty funny. But it turns out that piece has been very well received in other places just as a concept, not without having to have the double entendre of the river there. So that's another thing is a lot of these pieces, I was motivated by something that was site-specific at the venue, and then it turns out, oh, that's actually more universal than I thought it would be. Like Shred at the skate park was one that they actually got put in Venice as well, because there's so many surfers there. So, you know, that was just interesting. So those are some of the things I learned from the project. And that there are much harder to deal with city apparatuses than City of Glendale. That's another thing I learned from this process.
You think in some places where, for instance, didn't get a lot of social media attention, you
No,
would
I'm
try
just
to-
talking about the bureaucracy.
Yeah, no, beyond that. But for
Oh,
instance, now
the
you're going to
social-
replace some of these pedestals or poles with signs that perhaps didn't get so much social media. You may do something a little different to see if you get more attraction to them.
Well, it's interesting because also so much of it is situational, the location. For instance, the piece that Breathe, All We Have Is Now, the interstate sign piece, putting that in front of Grandview Library, it got some attention in Glendale, but didn't get too much. But that's not a very high pedestrian necessarily area. That piece is also in Laguna Beach, and that it's got to have something to do with its location. But it's probably my most Instagram piece in the world is that piece in Laguna Beach. But you know, something to do with its location on top of the quality of the piece or whatever it is.
Well,
So it's hard to
we
say.
can certainly consider Instagrammability as one of our most important criteria.
It's tough. So I was just out at Desert
I'm not
X.
kidding. I'm not being cheeky.
Yeah. I was just out at Desert
sincere.
X, and it's interesting.
Unpredictable what that would be.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing the experience of what public art is, because Desert X is kind of on a certain cutting edge of public art, and there are artists that are working with this notion that the viewer intrinsically has a phone in their hand, that is a component of the viewer. Just as the viewer has eyes, just as the viewer has ears, the viewer has a phone in their hand. And so then how do you actually interact with a viewer who has this component of their anatomy? And it's interesting to see that. So, you know, augmented reality becomes something that's, you know, that's obvious, but there are these other things that some of the artwork was specifically impossible to engage with if you didn't have Google Maps, because it would tell you something about where another component of the piece was, and oh, that's in Tijuana. And it was like, I couldn't have engaged with this piece if I didn't have my phone in my hand. And so that the artists are actually thinking that way. So I think, you know, like you said, it's tongue-in-cheek to say that Instagrammability is a component of the work, but it certainly is a component of...
People want to be part of the art, make themselves part of it,
and more people see it.
Works.
People who don't live in Glendale see these works, and one of the components of the work is that there is no labeling on it, right? Your commission is not labeled on it. I'm not labeled on it. There is no label on the work. So it's very challenging for people to discover anything more about the project, which I personally enjoy. From a street art perspective, that it's not signed is something that's beneficial for me. I enjoy that. So I will go and look at geotagging of Instagram pieces at different parks and see that, oh, somebody took a picture in Brand Park, they labeled it was in Brand Park, and now I can see that they took that picture. I can now say hello to them, and their friends will all say, wow, Glendale seems like such a cool place to live that's got these awesome works of art in it. Yeah. So now these are people who are all over the country who are able to engage with the work because of the social media component of it. But it, first of all, has to be Instagrammable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Well, all I have to say is I would love to cut through the bureaucracy, whatever ours is, and I, personally have a lot of trust in you, Scott, because I think you know this project and the behavior it elicits and how people react to things better than any of us ever will until we experience them. I can tell you from personal experience that when you get to the top of the 7 trees, which I've done, and there's photographs on Facebook to that effect, that seeing that sign was just like, ah. So, I think I we could go ahead, and if we can find our way to approve an expanded version of this project and let 18 pieces come in, I'd like to hear, I don't even think we need to necessarily discuss it again unless anybody would like to say something else.
No, I think we need a motion now, right?
We do need a motion because the
I'd like to
motion,
make a
I think we
motion.
had
Can I
a
make a
motion
motion?
written, but it's going to have to be amended, so.
Can I make a motion?
And,
Is that,
yeah,
yeah?
go ahead, and if you're, anybody who wants to make a motion,
He knows what he's saying.
thank you. Go ahead and do it.
I propose that we commission Scott to do 18 of these pieces on the 18 remaining poles, repositioning 5 of the pieces that he's got, and then refabricating 13 for $8,000 budget. Is that a good?
Is that an okay motion, Counselor?
Maybe we can also put it within the framework of the other motion,
Oh, where was
the
that?
sample motion.
That's right, I did see
Yeah, I
the
can't
sample
find
motion.
them. It's
Oh, here it
in
is,
the
moved
front.
by Commissioner, okay, that one? Should I do it like
You can
like
just
this?
say, yes, move that the commission allocates.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Oshagan, okay, but second, whatever, allocates $8,000 for Commission's 2019-20 work plan to enable artist Scott Froschauer to redeploy or fabricate and install up to 18 signs from his Art Happens Anywhere Word on the Street program, as more particularly described the April 15, 2019 report by Director of Library Arts and Culture. And recommends that the director enter into an art display agreement in an amount not to exceed $8,000 in total with Scott Froschauer to redeploy, fabricate, and install the signs in locations subject to the city department's approval for display at those locations up to X
There we
number.
go.
Up to, okay, so I guess we have to decide up to, that's a critical thing. How
Duration of the
long,
time.
the duration of
Duration.
the exhibition?
How long was the last one?
A year.
1 year.
One
So
year.
It was only
this-
1 year.
Well, this comes into the discussion of what constitutes temporary versus what constitutes permanent.
We didn't get to that yet, but that's a later discussion.
What I was
We can specify it for your project. We
Well,
don't
and what I
have
would
to-
propose is it possible to include language to say that it's 1 year, and with the understanding that I'll come back to the commission at the end of a year to look to renew it for $1 plus whatever maintenance fees or something like that, or we could also then put in new pieces. But I mean, that we keep renewing it for a year, but I come back like a month before it ends, so that we can prepare for the ending of it.
Why don't we add to the motion that it will, that the duration is a year to be reconsidered or renegotiated, whatever the right term is, at that point.
Right.
A year from now. Give them a minute.
Well, you could say that, yes, but it would depend, Chair Vidor, what the commission's meeting is like. I mean, on the 11th month, you may not be able to get to it, and then the thing lapses. What you could do, if you want, you may say that these locations up to 1 year with an option at the discretion of the commission to renew it up to one more year.
Okay.
For a nominal fee.
Then yes. Okay.
Could I have?
Yeah.
Could we automatically renew it until we say enough?
Yeah.
Is that
So then
possible?
you
So
might-
that he doesn't have to come in and it doesn't have to be agendized?
Then you might as well say 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's say, well, then let's say 2.
Yeah,
And,
but then would it be permanent?
Yeah.
Right?
no, we haven't defined what that is.
No,
Oh, we
we're-
have not
we're-
defined it
I
yet,
think
okay.
we're not going to go there, but if we say 2 years, we have to meet your requirements for 2 years, so.
Okay.
And you were willing to say that we would nominally go for a very,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing would be like after a year if there was some maintenance cost or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. I guess,
to be determined.
yeah, I don't know how we fit that
Well,
in.
we can't project, but, in the worst-case scenario where something comes up, we could take it down after a year.
Or we could say maintenance fees after a year not to exceed like $2,000 or something. And then that way, if there is some maintenance that has to be done, we can do that. I mean, that seems like it makes sense, right?
Yes.
Is that all? I'll go ahead.
So
So
we'll
do you
say
want
2 years.
So do I-
'Cause 1 year comes up so fast.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is 1 year.
to, so starting with the
So-
last sentence, do you want to repeat?
The second part.
Yeah, the
Yes.
second part about the
Okay,
duration.
recommends that the director enter into an art display agreement in an amount not to exceed $8,000 plus amount, well, up to another 2,000 for maintenance.
Perfect.
To redeploy, fabricate, install locations approved by the city department for 2 years.
I
24 months.
second that
Yeah.
motion.
Okay. Did I get that motion right?
You have a
Did I get it right?
It's good enough.
For up to 2 years.
So you're good with that? And,
I second it.
second, roll call, please.
Commissioners Oshagan,
Yes.
Tufenkian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zadorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
So, point of question, so choosing,
Do we have a say?
is that something that has to happen in this room? Is it something that can,
You can work with city staff,
okay,
and if needed, we'll consult with,
okay, so I'll email you
yeah, or
with
Chuck.
I'll email Chuck.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll email Chuck. Okay, so I'll email Chuck, and then he can distribute, and then we can get approval like that. Okay, great. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank
I love it. Thank you, guys. It's always good to see you.
Glendale
Scott.
is now officially the coolest city in America. And will continue to rise.
You still
in
have the
that-
most. You still have the most. As an aside, from previous comments, I use Cafe Call for Entry, which one of your previous speakers was mentioning, and that's how I get the vast majority of my commissions is through Call for Entry. So putting that out, putting your calls out through that is a very powerful way to reach more artists. Cool. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. All right, back to the agenda. Next item, please.
Item 5AB, nominations for artist selection committees.
Really? Is it? Thank you. Chair Vidor, Commissioners, City staff, the staff respectfully recommends that the Arts and Culture Commission appoint 2 commissioners to the review and selection committees for each of the following Arts and Culture Commission programs and projects. And these are Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station, Brand Library Summer Plaza Series, Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Program. On December 2018, the City Council approved the 2019-2020 work plan of the Arts and Culture Commission and appropriated funds to accomplish activities detailed in the work plan. Activities related to this plan will continue through the end of 2020. The city has a streamlined process for reviewing and selecting artists on projects and consultants who assist the city in implementing projects and programs. Each project will have a selection committee review made up of an arts and culture commissioner, library arts and culture staff, and other city staff as necessary. The committees will be responsible for reviewing submissions and making recommendations to the commission on the best qualified consultant or artist. Each commissioner is asked to provide his or her 2 preferred committees on which to serve. Each program or project has 2 commissioners assigned. And again, we have the 3 projects listed there.
Does anyone have a nomination they'd like to make?
If I may add, the brand series is already chosen because it starts very soon. We had to get it pushed through finance. There should be another
Plaza series?
Brand Plaza series. There should be another Beyond the Box utility program phase this year, and we really want to start earlier with the Brand Library series. So maybe by the end of the year, we'll think about putting a call for artists out, close it out at the end of January.
So we are not picking the Brand Library Summer Plaza Series
Madam
selection
Chair, I
committee?
would recommend that we do that we have committees selected for all of these. Anything could come up in the interim and artist cancels. I just
Okay.
recommend we.
Are we allowed to nominate ourselves?
Absolutely.
Then, and it's two per commissioner, correct?
Yes.
Then I would like to choose, I would like to nominate myself for the Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station and the Beyond the Box Utility Box Meal Program.
Do I have a second?
Sure. Second.
Roll call.
Well, shouldn't we,
Formalize the whole committee.
yeah, we should do the
Yeah.
whole committee.
All right, we're going to do the whole
Oh, should we go
committee.
We should
committee
do
by committee
everything.
instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do,
then
go
let's do
committee by
Adams Square
committee.
then.
All right. So you're nominating yourself for Adams Square.
Yes.
Okay, any other nominations for Adams Square? We need two, right?
I like to be on it. Now we have three.
Usually people
We're
are
kicking
are
our
trying not to be nominated, and we have competition for nominations. That's great. Okay, so we have two other interested parties. So now we need to vote.
That's fine, I
Retract.
retract. my-
Retract.
Caroline.
Okay. So Caroline Tufenkian is also on the Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station Committee.
Okay.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Okay. So with the Brand Summer Plaza Series, I would like to, can I make a nomination? Okay, I would like to nominate myself for that one.
Great.
And do I have any other nominations?
I'll do the Beyond Box.
I
Beyond the
nominate
Box.
Ara.
and-
I was, yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have to do two, right? So
Yes, I was going to say,
We're looking
otherwise
for
you're
summer, we're on
me, is-
Summer
The two
Plaza
people for-
Series now.
last one.
Other members for the selection committee. I'm on it, and we need one other person.
I'll be on it.
Okay? Ara and Arlene, Summer Plaza Series. And now, the final one, Beyond the Box.
Oh, so no, I wanted to be in the Beyond the Box, so.
Oh,
Are we on, we can't be on two
Yeah,
each,
it's,
because two doesn't count, right? Because there's 6 spots.
oh, so we can
Each
have more
of two
than
would
two
be
people on
8.
it? But
So
that would-
somebody's only going to
Two
be two.
people, no more
we don't have
than
enough
two
commissioners.
people.
Oh, okay.
2 people are only going to be on one, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So I will be only on the Beyond the Box. I'm cool with that.
okay.
It's fine.
So we have Ara on Beyond the Box, Arlene Vidor on Summer Plaza Series, and Caroline
guess I-
and Savannah on
Yes.
Adams Square.
Okay. And we need one more person for Beyond the, for the Brand Summer Series,
Okay?
right?
Nobody
You're alone?
wants to
I
sit
thought we
on-
had Arlene and Nora.
No,
No,
Ara declined.
I guess I'll help you on that.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Caroline Tufenkian will also be on the Brand Summer Plaza Series. Okay. So now we vote on those nominations?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think it would be best to, if you just, again, you kind of just read them, but if you just, I motion and we do it all in one.
All right, one long
Someone
motion.
seconds it, and then you vote.
All right. So does somebody, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but I don't think I can make a motion. I can? Okay.
Can you
No,
read
I can't.
the list?
Yeah, let's
Can
go
you?
through the list again.
So let's go through the list again, just one more time. So Adams Square is Caroline Tufenkian and Savannah Zadorian. Brand Summer Plaza Series is Arlene Vidor and Caroline Tufenkian. And Beyond the Box is Ara Oshigan and
I nominate myself.
You want to, right.
Savannah
You wanna-
Zadorian. Okay. So those are the 6 nominations.
So did another person besides Chair Vidor have those and can make a motion?
I make a motion to accept all the nominations. Does that make sense?
We need to repeat them again.
Should I name every single one? Okay. I motion to have Savannah Zadorian and Caroline Tufenkian
On Adams Square Mini Park.
on the Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station Committee. I motion for Arlene Vidor and Caroline Tufenkian on the Brand Library Summer Plaza Series Committee, and for Ara Oshagan and Savannah Zadorian on the Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Program.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Commissioners Oshigan,
Yes.
Tufenkian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zadorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes. Whew. That was intense. Okay. Well, we look forward to those selections. Next item.
Item 5BA, discussion item 219, 2020 work plan progress.
Chair Vidor, Commissioners and City staff, again, on December 18th, 2018, the Glendale City Council approved the 2019-2020 work plan of the Arts and Culture Commission and appropriated funds to accomplish activities detailed in the work plan. Activities related to this plan will continue through the end of 2020, and the following updates are programs from the work plan that have had recent activity. I will start out with citywide arts. I can let you know that 86 artists submitted 133 proposals to participate in this latest phase of Beyond the Box, the Utility Box Mural Program. As previously reported, 15 applications were chosen to be painted. All were completed this last Friday through Sunday, April 12th through 14th. And there are a number of locations, of course, 15. I can also say with 8 males and 7 females participating, we have gender equity. Additionally, participants come from diverse backgrounds and reflect diverse styles in their work. Additionally, 2 high school students were chosen to participate. So this is a map of all the utility boxes in Glendale that are currently painted. There's well over 100. They look like this to begin with. Afterwards, they start to look like this. This is a box at the Central Library with the artists working on it, and this is the completed box. I walk by this every day, or I have since, Monday. Great, really lovely, and there's some new landscaping, drought-resistant plants coming to that corner. It's going to be quite lovely. There's also one of Scott Froschauer's signs in this area also. It's the other side of the box. Here's an artist. He's an instructor at Crescenta Valley High School. And he submitted this work that was chosen. Lovely, just lovely, did a great job. This is the corner of Wilson and Glendale. There's a B of A with the Starbucks inside of it on one side, and there's a utility box in the lower left-hand corner. And there's an artist working on it. And today, we have really cool dogs.
And that's actually located just over here on the corner.
Mm-hmm. Remember, I asked you to try and remember the artist Audrey Paransky. She's the CV high school student. She submitted artwork that was selected for one of the boxes. So she's had a real busy couple of months here with the city of Glendale. This is out on Riverside where it hits Sonora.
I think that's the Adams Square box.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the one on
Adams
Palmer.
Square box.
Yeah, that's right. There's the gas station across the street. Sorry, I was looking for something yellow. Really, again, great boxes. That's the one that's over there. It was a goldish box over on Riverside. You can see this artist really did an interesting job working the branches into the layout of the box. And this is, I have not seen this quite example of that extra battery pack that we see on many of our boxes. They usually stretch all the way to the floor, so this one, strange. This is near a school. You can see the school grounds in the background. Another great box. A really fine artist. This artist also has, he's a repeat. He has a box near the courthouse in Glendale also.
So who did the selection on this round?
This was staff. This artist came to visit us, sent us a note. They received compliments from the public. One public member brought them a canopy. Other members of the public, brought them refreshments. They had a great time, and they were very, very happy to do this box. So that's my report about the utility boxes.
Thank you very much.
All right. There are, boxes seem to spring up. We drive by new ones. Some boxes are replaced, but there are indeed new boxes out there. You can also perhaps put how long a box stays up into your thoughts about temporary art. We started this in 2014, so some of the boxes, particularly in the downtown Glendale area, have been there for over 5 years now. Next, neighborhood arts. Well, do you want to?
I just have a comment. I think we've talked about this before, and perhaps sometime in the future we can talk again about the opportunity maybe to wrap boxes rather than paint on them. That's one option, and certainly to rotate box painting is something that should come up in the future too.
All right. Neighborhood arts. The application for artists to submit to exhibit art in the Adams Square Mini Park gas station remains open. Again, chosen artists will receive a stipend of $1,000 to participate. And duly noted, we will work on our website and communications and get you some more artists that two of you will be able to look at. For performing arts.
Question? Sorry if I could.
Yeah.
Remind us quickly, Chuck, so we get a lot of applications for the utility box program, right?
Yes.
And so that goes out through which channels? Because this issue was brought up in
Same
terms
sort
of
of channels.
same
We don't
yeah.
use Cafe for anything but the brand library.
And so the Adams Mini Park thing will go out through the same channels, and we suspect
Yes.
the same group of artists will be able to see.
Yeah.
You might want to, Cafe is it okay if I mention Cafe? Can I talk about that? Okay. I check with my lawyer for everything. The Cafe system is really nice because it's flexible, and since the brand library already has brand and the brand associates are collaborating on a contract with, but that could be expanded, and you can tailor calls to be very specific. They can be city specific, they can be region specific. So it doesn't, the brand call happens to be a national call, the one for brand 47, but we could tailor it the way we want, and I think it would be an absolutely wonderful way to reach more people.
Do you know if there's a cost?
Yes,
to
there is a
Cafe?
cost.
Okay,
So it would
then-
have to come back as an
Right.
an action item if we were to use it, but it's
I know.
something that I think in the future we should consider. Anybody have any other ideas about?
Maybe we should request to put it on the next month's agenda so we can approve it.
Yeah, I was going to wait to have agenda requests at the end of the meeting, so. And
I'd
it's not-
forget, but
It's actually, I'm writing them down as we
Write
go.
it down.
Writing them down as we go. Okay, so that's great.
Next, we have performing arts. The application period for the 2019 Brand Plaza Summer Series is closed. As previously reported, 100 applications were received, and staff selected 13 applicants and 6 alternates for the popular summer series. The application period remains open, however, for the 222 East series, and 2 commissioners may choose to work on that, as well as the brand series. Staff selected the performers through 2019 from both the Brand Plaza alternates, this is for 222 East, selected from the Brand Plaza alternates and the complete list of applicants. And staff is working with the finance department to vendor the performers for both series. And if I might call up one of our librarians, our music specialist at Brand Library, Blair Whittington.
Chair Vidor, commissioners, guests, I'm very pleased to be here. So this is a very highly anticipated series every year. It's a very popular series with the Brand Plaza series, and now we have the 222 East series. So we have 2 concert series. I think it was 110 applications this year. So it's a the whole idea is diversity. We have a broad collection within the music collection at Brand Library, so the live music should reflect the same. The Brand Library Plaza series started in 2014 with the reopening of Brand Library after major renovation. And as we know, the series has been a huge success. I think that first year we were averaging 85, 100. The top was 150 people. Now it's rare we get under 250 people at every concert. So, and we do 13 concerts every summer, every Friday night, June, July, and August. And then, so this year, we are going to be opening with Opium Moon, which is Lily Hayden's band. Now, I don't think you can get much cooler than this band. Lily Hayden was the violinist for Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh, my God.
And she toured with Robert Plant and Jimmy Page on their last tour. So this is her new band. They just won a Grammy this year. In New Age category, but it's really kind of a world music crossover. We know that musical categories are a lot of times very hard to define. So of course Lily's playing violin. She's got an electric bass player, the santur, which is the Iranian hammered dulcimer, and her percussionist plays a variety of Indian and Middle Eastern percussion instruments. So it'll be a lot of fun to have Lily's band. We'll be opening the series on June 7th. Just a few other highlights because we don't have that much time. Iridis is the second band. They have classical musicians with original compositions. The keyboard player writes, but they also collaborate with hip-hop artists and play video game arrangements. We have Samba de Duas. It's an all-female Brazilian group as well. That's a lot of fun. Drivin' Mama Crazy is a bluegrass band led by Arshad Chakurian. He called me last week, and he was talking about, as a guitar player, he was talking about the diverse musical interest in his own family, and he's been working as a bluegrass musician for the last 30 years, and these guys are great. We're going to have a lot of fun with... Arshad was a guitar player. Yeah. Let's see, who else? Oh, another big one. Well, we have Salsa Caliente. We're going to do salsas, merengues, cha-chas, Latin. So we'll get a lot of great Latin music. Another big one is the Kim Project. And their leader is saxophonist and arranger Kim Richmond. And he worked as an arranger with Stan Kenton and Louis Belson and so forth. So, oh, that's Fish to Birds. They actually performed at Central once, but they'll be over here. And that's a vocal group. So they're up there. But yeah, I'm very pleased to have Kim Richmond with his Kim Project over there. And they're going to do a tribute to Joni Mitchell and Herbie Hancock. And as for the 222 East series, it's still open. There's a number of things that are booked, I guess I can talk about. Trio synthesis, we'll have cello, piano, and percussion. Art Sinonian, the percussionist, is a lot of fun because he's got a ton of percussion instruments behind him, so he's fun to watch with all of his different instruments. Slick City Pickers, they got bluegrass at Central. Craig Kupka, I don't know, a lot of you probably know Craig because he taught at Hoover High School. He had an award-winning band at Hoover, and he taught at Glendale College. He's a great trombone player. So his band is called the Big Bad Jazz Band, and they're going to be at Central. And Acoustic Asylum will be there in December at Central, and that's a mixture of jazz, funk, and Americana, and Carl Verheyen is the guitarist for that. So another award-winning musician. So moving along very well.
Sounds great.
Wow.
Beautiful. Can't wait. Yeah, I would encourage everybody. Blair, thank you. You know, he's been curating the Brand Associates classical music series now for 10 years, and music at the Brand is just fantastic, and thank you for everything you do for us, Blair. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, so come here, Lily, play at Brand on June 7th with Opium Moon. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be there. Next.
Well, continuing on arts and cultural events with your 2019-2020 work plan, for the Art Walk, staff shared at the March 21st Commission meeting various examples of different cities' Art Walk events. Based on this input, the Commission discussed their wishes and expectations for an Art Walk in the city of Glendale. In brief, Commission input can be, or we summarized it as, pilot a one-night art walk centered in the Arts and Entertainment District, likely in fall 2019. Consider expanding to biannual or quarterly if successful. If available, place art exhibits in vacant storefronts, partner with galleries and museums to expand participation.
That's great. I'd like to just provide a brief update on the issue of vacant space. There are actually 2 potential vacant spaces that can be used when we get to the point of logistically organizing the art walk. One is 131 Art Sock and the other one is 127 Art Sock. And what's nice now about these, I'm not just talking, I got this information from economic development. So it's accurate. We certainly need to do more research and work with them, but I believe at least one of these facilities can be entered because it's been upgraded and it could serve as potentially a gallery space during an art walk that people could walk into rather than just peer through the window. And then the other one, Gallery 127, could be a window space. So we have at least 2 opportunities to, curate art in whatever fashion that takes to bring Art Sock into the art walk plan. And I'm sure there are many other potential businesses, entities, and cultural institutions that would like to participate, and we'll get to that. But it was exciting to find out that we do have an opportunity for open space, for temporary space. So.
Finally, in this report, staffing actions. As reported, Library Arts and Culture posted on the city website a position for a 30-hour per week arts administrator to support the Arts and Culture Commission and to realize the vision of the Urban Arts Program Plan to transform Glendale into an arts and culture destination. My understanding is that 96 applications were received. Staff will create a short list of potential candidates and continue to keep the commission updated as the hiring process progresses. I believe our director may have some comments.
Again, Gary Schaefer, Commissioner Vidor, and colleagues. So this number was polled midday Friday. That's when the report was prepared. In fact, it closed on Friday evening, so we actually received 112 applications. So we're currently vetting all those. Obviously, it's a lot of work going through those, but as my colleague said, we will keep you apprised as that progresses.
That's great. We really look forward to that.
That's really excellent. Really excellent.
Okay, if there are no other comments, we'll go on to the next item.
Item 5BB, Culver City Arden Public Places Visit.
Okay, well, I will just start by mentioning that last month, Director Schaefer and I met with Christine Byers, the head of Cultural Affairs at Culver City, and her coordinator of public art, Louise Coffey Webb. That picture is, the person on the left is Louise Coffey Webb, and the head of Cultural Affairs, Christine, is on the right, and we're in City Hall, standing in front of a piece of art at the entrance of City Hall. And the purpose of the visit was to reach out and make some connections and find out what a 30-year-old municipal public art program looks like, and maybe discover some of the lessons they've learned along the way. They've accumulated over 100 pieces of public art, and Louise Coffey Webb that's her job, to look after those 100 pieces of art. We came away with some of their policies and procedures, which I have copies of, and we're happy to make those available. They also had a tour book and kind of a very classy thing that they had compiled, which talked about the creative economy of Culver City, which is something we could certainly aspire to. This is their booklet on the 100 pieces of public art. It's like a tour book that they hand out to the public. I think everybody has copies of it. I don't think we made copies of this aspirational creative economy thing, but it was a very intriguing idea. They're deep into it, I would say. And certainly I really would like to thank both of them for hosting us and being so generous with their time and information. So I'll turn it over to you, Director Schaefer.
Thank you, Chair Vidor. Not much to add. Thank you. That was very well said. Very enjoyable. Nice to see how another city does it. Noticed that most of the art was very compacted in the downtown area of the city. Interesting pieces. They also talked about some of the challenges of pieces that are located in private areas, because sometimes cities work that you, developer, can put the public art in their space, and what their idea of public art is might be different than what someone else's idea of public art is, but did like how the studio put there's a picture in your book, a 2-page spread, had put the rainbow that you could see from outside of the studio, and I believe that is the studio where The Wizard of Oz was filmed, so that's the Over the Rainbow. And then particularly, just because it will be relevant for our upcoming discussion on temporary and permanent art, was interesting that they go into great detail defining that, but offhandedly they reported about the great deal of time, energy, and effort they spend on maintaining their permanent art. It's a full-time position of just someone maintaining the art and working on all of that, and working with some of the artists who, in one case, the artist, I think, did the installation 20 or 30 years ago, and fortunately is local, was excited to restore it, but I mean, it was quite an undertaking just to do the restoration. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a fun outing. Okay, we'll move on.
Item 5BC, future designation.
Can I just draw your attention to page 21 in the booklet, where there's the utility boxes that are painted as if they belong to the background? I thought that's really cool.
That was
Did you notice-
something
did you
that
notice that?
really caught our eye.
So the utility box, it's a vinyl. So a photographer actually takes the picture as if the utility box isn't there, and the utility box then, disappears. I just see a little problem with self-driving cars navigating around those utility boxes.
Ooh,
That's the map you were talking about.
yeah.
We should consider that for our utility box. One of them, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that is. Maybe we could expand, put ideas in the call or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, item 5BC, future designation of art as temporary or permanent.
Again, Chair Vidor and fellow commissioners, Black Law's dictionary defines temporary as that which is to last for a limited time only, as distinguished from that which is perpetual or indefinite in its duration. A search using Lexis, a global provider of legal, regulatory, and business information, as well as a Google search, elicited definitions of temporary art being from 6 months to 3 years. One definition allowed additional time for the display of temporary art. The temporary art installation could be extended beyond the 6-month limit with the county administrator's approval. However, even with a definition establishing with certainty the period of time for permanent art and temporary art, other factors besides length of time come into play. One article from the Wall Street Journal, which you have in your packet, describes how public art intended to be permanent can fall victim to public opinion and end up as a temporary installation. This passage of time can impact how the public views a public art piece or a somber memorial of a historical event, for example, a Confederate statue or monument, and can render the art piece or the memorial as contextually obsolete, and therefore possibly require its removal before the designated time period. So again, as we looked at different definitions, it varied. I do note that I believe Culver City had a 3-year term on theirs. I had a chart.
It's in their procedure
Yes,
somewhere, but
it's in their ordinance, and so they find that covers pretty much, keeping it under 3 years for temporary and over 20 years for permanent. You might ask, well, what about in between? But to them, it's like they haven't had anything arise in the in-between. And if they did, they could certainly do that via an artist agreement. But the one thing I would point out is the maintenance of the pieces that, you know, if you put a lot of permanent pieces up, you have that. And the idea of, you know, our speaker earlier, just the concept that one of my, well, not a former colleague of Mr. White's came up with, of art happens anywhere, is that, you know, a temporary installation construction fence sign could be plastered with art, and suddenly it's there, and it's by nature temporary, but it could, in effect, artify a city. And then in the example from the Wall Street Journal, what's of interest is, you know, is it a possibility by doing temporary installations to extend dollars? It's a licensing fee to the artist. The artist gets a 2-year display in one example, and then the art returns to the artist and is no longer, the city isn't encumbered by it, if you will. That said, you could also put up a temporary display of, say, a sculpture in front of a certain building with high traffic area, and then one day not relegate it, but rather place it in a sculpture park, you know, so that it could be there. But then, of course, maintenance is ongoing. What happens to the piece? So it's really up to you now, perhaps to have a discussion around this. I don't know. It's a discussion item, so no action is necessary or needed, nor do we have to limit ourselves, but it's certainly open for discussion. In the interest of time, I might suggest we limit that to, you know, 5 minutes or so.
Okay. So I'm sure everybody wants to react to that. So do you want to start on this side of the room and go this way, or the other side?
You start over there.
All right, you're up.
I do like the 6 months to 3 years as temporary because it gives you a wide enough range where you're not limiting yourself. And for permanent, I'm just confused as to over 20 years how that would work. Because some of the pieces I'm thinking about that would be permanent would be like our bean. We would want that to be there for a very long time.
Iconic piece.
An iconic
defines
piece.
Glendale.
Yes.
Yes.
It'd be the statement piece that lets you know that you're in Glendale, that people would be posting about, and you say, that's Glendale, as the Chicago Bean would do. So what I'm thinking is, of course, we would hope for that to be permanent because there will be so much money being spent on it. But to say over 20 years, I'm just a little iffy about the permanent. I feel temporary, 6 months to 3 years works perfectly because most of the temporary pieces we're talking about are installations or like Scott's pieces or whatnot, or the utility boxes. 3 years seems like the right number, and you would obviously come back and discuss if you want to keep it or not. That's always an option. Permanent to me is a little confusing as to how to understand what a 20-year limit means.
So it's not a limit, it's over 20 years.
Over 20.
So you think
20
of
is
like
the
an
cutoff.
iconic sculpture in Philadelphia, it's the love sign. I believe it was placed there in the early 70s, and that's something that's just, people go to Philadelphia, not probably just to see it, some probably do, but you want to make sure you get your picture taken in front of it, type of thing.
As in 15 years after they had placed that, someone went and said, we're taking this down. That's impossible. Is the point of
Minimum
20 years.
minimum 20.
Minimum 20.
So
That's what I'm
you-
trying to say.
I think the idea is that the artist plans to have something that's going to be there at least 20 years, and with that, it has to withstand the weather, everything for 20 years, and then it just keeps going, right?
So it'd be something that does not require maintenance. That's part of the document.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, it would require maintenance.
It would require maintenance at some point, even possibly during the 20 years. But you would definitely want to establish with the artist that this thing is meant to, you know, not require maintenance unless vandalized, you know, for a 20-year period. After that, I mean, it likely is going to need maintenance, and I assure you that that love sign in Philadelphia is probably regularly maintained.
Yeah. Those are the numbers from Culver City that you provided, or was that from multiple different?
It was multiple jurisdictions.
Okay.
That love sign was deinstalled at one point, taken and cleaned and brought back, so, yeah.
So, okay, that's good. Does anyone else want to make
So,
any comments?
yeah, I have a question. So we're actually talking about just having artist agreements with artists. So they would place the work on a temporary or permanent basis. We're not thinking of purchasing? Because if we purchase, obviously, it would be a permanent piece.
Correct. So it's, yes, whether it's, often though, the permanent art is purchased, and so it doesn't return to the artist after 20 years. So that's typically a purchase. And temporary depends, no artist doing the utility boxes expects to, take that art home, but I know you understand.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a little bit arbitrary, right? 3 years or 5 years. If 3 is Culver City is using 3, I guess that's fine. It seems to make sense to us. It seems reasonable. The minimum doesn't. I don't know if we need a 6 months or 3 years. What would we, call if there is, somebody does something for a week, for instance, for like if we have a art week, somebody does a installation for art week. It'll be 1 week and it's going to come down. If we don't have a minimum, then we can call that temporary art, right? So perhaps we don't really need a minimum, or we just say up to 3 years.
3 years.
It's temporary. It could be even a day or a few hours. It could classify as temporary.
I mean, it could also give you an out. Say, there's a piece we all see conceptually, we fall in love with it, we put it up, we get complaints about it for whatever reason, it's an eyesore, or we're not that infatuated with it anymore. It had a timeline in the artist agreement. We've defined temporary art as 3 years, so at least we have, the art has to go.
And then on the opposite side, if, a situation like Scott's work, where it was, I think, 1 year to begin with, and it was so popular and so desirable to have around that we extended. So maybe each contract, even if we define temporary as 6 months to 3 years, we could still put individual caveats in each contract, right? We're not limited to rigidly define permanent and temporary, right? We could.
Correct. You could certainly put that in the contract, or an option to renew, or something like
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that it helps give staff guidance, primarily, because someone has to write the contracts so that they can.
Yeah, like Scott. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I would agree with Commissioner Oshagan that it should be up to 3 years and not necessarily, 6 months to 3 years. Don't even give that 6 months option. Just say up to 3 years, because if it is a weekend or a one-day installation, then you want to have that as an option as well.
And so, just as a reminder, we won't be coming to a decision today, but you can certainly, if you feel it's important to define, we could bring it back as an action item.
Okay.
Yeah, what's interesting is that's going to Scott's work. So if we go through the plan, it would be 1 year plus 2 years. It'll be 3 years, right at the end of the current contract. It would be at the end of the length of, if we define it as temporary. So it would be at that end of that period. Then I guess we just extend it, and it's still temporary, but it's still going to extend the temporary artwork. Is that what
Sequential temporary exhibits. That,
yes, that's what it would
may exceed 3. It's like maybe 6 1-year temporary exhibits.
Well, it is also being switched out, right? So it's technically new.
Yes,
right. So it's
new.
changing.
It's
right.
a new contract.
It is, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Consider that, yeah.
And the commission can certainly then extend something if they choose to.
Right. We have to respond to public impressions, I think. Okay, so are we?
Should we agendize this?
Yeah, I
come to a
actually
conclusion with it,
had
or?
it, during commissioners' comments, if anybody has anything they want to suggest, or we're going in, we could lump things like that into the comments. So are we ready to move on? Or? Okay, go ahead.
Item 6, Commission staff comments.
Okay, who wants to start?
I can start, just because I want to get a few things out before we discuss that one more time. I did get a chance to go and see a few of the utility boxes while they were being painted, and I thought it was incredible because I was not a commissioner the last round, and to see that firsthand was great. I did go to see Susan Holloway's, actually, and I happened to be the one that was taking snacks. So she was awesome, and that happened to be my favorite piece that I saw. Did this just go out? No, never mind. It was great, and for some reason this time they seem to pop more to me. I'm not sure why that is, but even in the photos, they look great. The other ones look amazing as well, so I'm happy to see that. And thank you to all the artists, because it was a hot day, and they sat out there for 2 days, right? It was not 3 days, it was 3 days. Up to 3 days, and they were painting the entire time, some in direct sunlight. So thank you so much. Everything came out amazing. And I just wanted to announce, as it is not a City of Glendale event, it's called Glendale Out. It's the story of arriving at ourselves, the risk, freedom, and joy of coming out. Crescenta Valley High School, as I'm an alumni, as I've said multiple times, is hosting an art gallery opening night where all GUSD student works will be showcased. And this is part of their Pride Week, which when I was in school was not exactly a thing. So I'm very happy to see that students are able to display their art and speak about it and display beautiful work and, meet other talented artists across the schools. So this will be on Monday, May 13th from 3:30 to 6 o'clock at Crescenta Valley High School. That's at 2900 Community Avenue in La Crescenta. And it will be displayed from Tuesday to Friday of that week. So it's the 14th to 17th. There will be another event coming up in June, which is the actual Pride Week, and they're hoping to have the same gallery at the Rosslyn Gallery or displayed at ACE 121. I'm not sure if it's confirmed yet, so I hope by the next meeting I'll have more information and we can include it in our upcoming events. So that would be it, and feel free to contact Alicia Harris. She is currently accepting art pieces. She was my teacher at Crescenta Valley High School, and she's on the Glendale Teachers Association. The email is Miss Harris, M-I-S-S, Harris, H-A-R-R-I-S, is here at hotmail.com. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Other comments?
Can we put the temporary definition of artwork on the agenda for next?
Yes. I mean, we
Next
certainly
session,
can, there are going to be, when we're all said and done, a number of requests for agendized items, so maybe after we get them all out, we'll need to prioritize them, like amongst ourselves, because it'll
Or just
be
say on a future agenda.
a future agenda, and then soon, like a soon, yeah, because there are a lot of them. But yes, I would second that. Everyone agree, we got to act on that, yeah, okay.
So if I could make another comment, this is jumping across a couple of agendas, but the Summer Plaza series, which 2 commissioners were assigned to judge, can we fold the 222 East into that? Or is it already folded in it? It's not written that way, but I want to make sure, so that it would be something they can actually do, because the Brand Plaza is already done. So can we make sure that they are part of the 222 East selection process?
Yes, I was hoping you would fold that committee into that. We were given some deadlines by the finance department, so we had to get as many performers into that queue as we could. So we tried to get through the end of the year. But we have over 100 performers to pick from, and we can go, next year. It's really a good list. So that can be used for your committee work also, without having to wait till forever. But again, just the way that we vendor artists or performers, we had to get them in. I missed the April. I couldn't put a performer out in April because there wasn't enough time to get them in the queue financially.
The committee will
Yeah,
be
no issue.
selecting 222 East.
Yeah,
For
no,
this
I
year.
think the staff is doing a great job keeping up. I know you guys are overworked and the resources are low, but as long as we get the committee to do, here it says brand, I just want to make sure 222 is part of that, that's all.
Good. Thank you.
That's me, I'm done.
All right. Okay, I have a few for future agenda requests. One is, and it just came up today, I'd like to follow up on the earlier speaker's suggestion that we have kind of an assessment of, and maybe a look at the structure of the call website, and that maybe we look in, as part of that, we look into, well, certainly livening it up with color and photographs and making it very appealing, and then using possibly cafe, which seems to be the platform of choice, to put out calls. There's a price tag attached to that, so we'd have to look into that. And then another aspect of that, I think, would be, I don't know, I think that's great what you did, but I didn't realize there was an organized, I wasn't sure that any of the utility boxes had been painted, and if there's some way we could kind of make this a community endeavor, like when something's happening like that, and, weave and go out, maybe fan out across the city, and also capture photographs. I think as we do more art, public art, we've got to have a legacy to show off and, put out there in the, the age of social media and photography everywhere. So we should figure out a way to do that. And so that, that's something we should discuss as part of an agenda item, how we're going to set that up so that we, capture what happens in Adams Square and anywhere else where there's something going on. There were a few more. The art walk, I would like to agendize that. Obviously, there are things that have to happen before we agendize it, but it needs to become an action item pretty soon if we're going to do it this year. So I would put that on an agenda, and how it's handled in between now and when it's on the agenda, we'll, have to address that. So the art walk becomes an agendized item. I think there was another one. Yeah, the selection committees. I know I don't think we've discussed this, or at least now since I've been on the commission, but it would really be great to see our selection committees broaden out into other stakeholders, arts professionals, gallerists, people from the community at large who can become part of committees. And so it's, that we expand a little bit and bring others into the selection process. I don't know how that would work, but I think it's worth a discussion at some point.
Commissioner, it would just be something to speak with your counselor.
Council members, we should speak with our council members on that issue.
Because that's currently not a practice.
Okay. And then the last one I have, which is another possibly speak with council members, is I know there's been a lot of talk in the community, informally or otherwise, about muraling and the opportunities to have a city that has exciting murals in it. And I think the conversation should start publicly as soon as possible here, because where else would it start? So it would be great to have that agendized for a discussion and, get it out there that we're going to talk about it and kind of, attract people to come and talk to us about it, because that's part of the whole public art. That's a big aspect of public art in our world, and it hasn't really come up as an agenda item. So murals as an agenda item.
Is that considered citywide?
That would certainly be a citywide thing. I mean, it could be neighborhood, but it's a citywide art issue. Okay, is there something else you wanted to add? No? Okay. So having mentioned those, does anyone have any comments about those, or agree, disagree, want to add, subtract?
I agree.
I agree.
about the
I agree on all of them.
Okay, so we've got murals, website and community engagement, art walk, and
Temporary versus.
selection committees, and we'll talk to our council members about that.
Well, we have a website in the works, right? That's also
Yeah, I mean-
happening, so, right?
There's something going on
Okay.
there. Any other comments before we go on to the next item? Okay. All right, next item.
Item 7, written communications. I have
Nothing?
none. No.
Okay, then we can adjourn the meeting. And the next meeting is,
Forgetting the gavel. You gotta hit the gavel.